Good morning forum, hope you're well. Today I'm back to you with another video review on a gun that I got some time ago actually, and that was already showcased on my channel just for a quick neck dump. I'm talking about the HK MR223 A3, okay? This one belongs to the last line of MR rifles made by HK, which was released in different barrel lengths and also different colors. This obviously being in RAL 8000, which is the FD equivalent here in Europe. The gun features an 11-inch barrel, which is the most obvious feature of this gun, and it's quite unusual. Quite unusual for HK guns, because normally what they do is they release civilian versions which are a bit odd and bizarre, okay? For instance, take the SL8, which was supposed to be the civilian G36. Well, there's definitely some difference there. The HK416, the military version, is for once not so different from what we have here, so we can definitely say that HK has listened to the call for a more realistic 416 variant. I'm quite glad to have this rifle, to be honest. I'm gonna first tell you a bit about the features, then about my experience with this gun, and yeah, then we're gonna wrap things up. So, as said, the most obvious thing is the fact that it's an SBR, okay? An SBR for the United States means a gun with a barrel length that is shorter than 16-inch. This is 11-inch. It came from from the factory, which is great. It also has a dedicated gas block, okay, that goes along this length. Starting from the top, I have this muzzle device, which is not stock, okay? It's still from HK, but I had to order it separately. The reason why I did this is because this one has the interface which is compatible with the Rotex suppressor from Brigger & Tomet, which I own, okay? The stock one is still a flash hider, okay, don't get me wrong, unlike the earlier variants of MR rifles, which came with just a thread protector. The stock MR223 A3 comes with a flash hider, but it looks like the one from the G3, the old one. So it's slotted at 360 degrees and doesn't have any suppressor interface, as I understand. So I had this swapped. Front side post. These are backup iron sights, which come stock, okay? This is also a huge jump ahead, because the first iteration of MR rifles came just with Picatinny rails and nothing else, so you had to buy a set for 200 plus francs, euros, US dollars, whatever you want, or you ran some mag pulls and some other stuff. So kudos HK, finally. These iron sights are actually really great, okay? The front one doesn't seem to be adjustable. You can just take it on or off. The one at the back, you adjust it for height and for elevation, sort of. Here you just raise it and then turn it left or right, or for windage, which you do by just with a screwdriver moving it left or right here. To take it off, you just slide this at the back, and then it comes off like this, and it's supposed to hold 0 once you put it back. So we're gonna see whether that's true or not. No. All right. Then most of the people wonder what kind of gas block this gun has. It resembles the first gas blocks, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the military 416 had, which is a non-adjustable vented gas block. By vented, what do I mean? It has a little hole at the front, like the G36 gas block, if you're familiar with it. So what this does is the excess gas pressure gets vented from the front, okay? So if you're running suppressed, there's definitely some extra pressure and it just goes up from the front, okay? If you would not have this vent, I can imagine there would be a lot of extra stress put on the gas piston, which is obviously wears out the materials faster, and it's not the idea. So HK did not give us the adjustable one like the military has. In fact, you can see a leftover, a reminder from that here in the handguard. It says N and S, S stands for suppressed. So this gas block does not have the suppressed setting, but it does have the vent, which kind of achieves and serves the same purpose. So it's a self-regulating gas block, if you ask me. Yeah, would have I liked to have the military one? Why not? But in the end, you know, being used to what HK has done in the past, which is give us really bastardized versions of whatever they were producing for the military, this is definitely a quantum leap forward. Speaking of handguard, this is the last version, the last iteration of HK handguards. It's the HK mod handguard, which has Picatinny rates just at 12 and 6 o'clock. If you want them here on the side, you have to buy them extra. Like the key mod, basically it's the same idea, only proprietary from HK. Do I like this? Yeah, I mean, it fits quite nicely with a vertical foregrip. It's not a problem, and it's very light. Okay, this is not bad because, as you're gonna see now, the barrel is definitely heavy. Okay. The MR223A3 comes with a bull barrel, which they call match barrel or whatever. It's just, I don't know, a beefed up normal barrel like you would see in a traditional 10 point something AR-15. Why do they do this? Yeah, I think HK has to sort of can only release sporting weapons to the civilian market. So the fact that this barrel is so fat goes along the lines of, yeah, it gives you more accuracy. It's a match barrel. Do we really need a match barrel on SBR? Subject to interpretation. I think it has pros and cons. Okay, the con being immediately the weight. Okay, the gun is it's not very front heavy, but it is definitely front heavy. This also has positive aspects. It seems to be very precise. Okay, 100 meters with iron sights, I'm able to get really excellent groups, like my 14.5 inch SIG 551, which I sold, by the way. I'm also I'm convinced that it's not so bad because I run the gun suppressed many times, and it seems as the barrel is so fat it's not affected that much by the point of shift, but the delta in point of impact that the suppressor causes. Apology if I missed that at the beginning. So yeah, theoretically when you put a suppressor, the barrel is heavier. So if you zeroed it at some distance with the suppressor, you might not have the same zero. Okay. Now this definitely affects some of the other guns that I have, but it does not affect a lot this one, and I suspect it may be in part because of the barrel that it's so fat, and so that the extra weight at the front does not really make that much of a difference in relation to what essentially is a big ass barrel. Okay, you can see here the piston. Okay, the HK416 and the civilian versions thereof are definitely famous because of this. So as opposed to a DI system, in here you have the gas working only in this part. Okay, here at the front, gas comes in, pushes the piston at the back. Okay, which actuates the ball carrier group. The excess gas is vented, is pushed off from the front, and there you go. So the inside it runs pretty clean. It's it doesn't get too hot in here. Okay. Yeah, as said before, this is the new handguard that comes with it. I don't have. I did not check out how much it weighs, but I can tell you it's very, very, very light. Okay. It's almost as light as the plastic handguard that I have for my SIG 551. So this is sort of offsets the heavy barrel. Okay, just like this one here. Yeah. So it's a bit of a pain to put this one back. Okay, I'm just gonna leave it like this for the purpose of the review. Moving back, the upper receiver has not that many differences. It's mostly on the lower receiver that we have a couple of surprises. The gun comes stock with this enhanced, how do you say, charging handle, okay, which has a little extra notch on whatever side you want to put it to, okay, so it's easier to rack it. It's in FD, okay, which is cool. Tactical, especially for me. Moving on to the lower receiver, this is where we have some of the biggest differences, okay? So, first of all, ambi controls. Nowadays it's not really an extra, it's just standard, okay, because even the cheapest AR-15s have them. So, not really something special. You can put the gun on safe, even when it's unloaded. This is a feature, in my opinion, that all guns should have, okay? Especially if you want to load it, okay? I have done some classes where I invited some friends and gave them an introduction to the 223 carbine. And when they were running DI, normal DI AR-15s, okay, with the normal lower, the fact that you have to have the gun not on safe, so you could not put it on safe when unloaded, was a bit of a concern. I would rather, for people that never handled the gun, I would rather always have the gun on safe even when they have to charge it, so that you just have any hazard, moral hazard or whatever issues on that. So whenever you see white, it means it's safe, regardless of loaded or unloaded. But this is just me. It also comes from my military time, the SIG 550, which I am issued. You can put it on safe, regardless of whether the hammer is down or not. And it's just discipline, okay? You're just used to seeing white, I mean safe, regardless of the stage of the gun. And yeah, it just had that value for me. Having said that, let's have a look at the lower. So ambi controls is fine. It has an ambi magazine release, okay? The normal button is located here, and you also have one which you can reach with if you're left-handed with the index finger on this side. This is pretty much like the one that the Scar has. It's roughly in the same position. Works quite well. Magazine drop free. Excellent job. And then the last surprise from HK is the bolt hold open. Okay, you have a pedal which is a bit fatter on the left side, like with normal AR-15s. And then you also have a bolt release here for left-handed people, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, you could pretty much reach it with your thumb if you're left-handed, but I'm not sure how that one is supposed to work out. I'm right-handed, so who gives a shit? The way you actuate it is just dropping it with just pushing it down with your index finger if you're right-handed. Yeah, I didn't shoot this gun that much like I should have to. It's just hard for me to reconcile going to the range and my work-life balance with my wife and my job. So, but it's none of your problem. I guess it's more my issue. So I guess with more trigger time, I could probably, work around a way to use this. I'm just used to, using the normal bolt hold open pedal here, like I have it on the SIG 550. It just, once you reload the gun, it's just here, okay? So the other finger, I tend to keep it away from the trigger guard when I'm doing manipulations. So I'm not really sure, I'm not used to using this finger to actuate any kind of device except the safety. But yeah, who knows, maybe in the future I will find a way to use it and to manipulate the guy in a faster way, but with the kind of trigger time that I'm seeing right now, it's not going to happen anytime soon. The lower receiver has is cut in a different way from the enhanced, like the A2 onwards AR-15s. It doesn't have the reinforced lip here. Let me show you the difference with this setup that I have. You can see here it's it's not that edgy, it's more rounded. I believe it's due to the fact how the different type of gun system operate. The AR-15 is subject to more stress, I believe, or a different stress, better said. So, and it needs this reinforcement. Okay. The gun came with a different grip, not this one. I had to order this one extra. I like the looks of it because it reminds me of a 416, and also, yeah, the angle is effectively a bit better. I don't like the stock one is sort of too vertical. I don't like it. Going back, we have a stock, which is the infamous slimline edition. Okay, by slimline probably means what it is. It's slimmer. It's not that fat like the E1. It is. I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this stock. I'm not really sure. It's really almost too slim. Okay, here on the shoulder. But whatever. I mean, you have a super fit barrel and a slim stock. So I'm not sure what the idea was. Some things are fat, some things are slim. On the bright side, it's very tight. It has zero rattle. Okay. I mean, if you have a look at the buffer tube here, you can see it has some little bearings. Okay. I think those are to achieve to put pressure on the stock, and it has zero rattle as a consequence. This is excellent. I have some other AR-15 lowers where there is definitely some rattle, and you know, in 2016 or rather said 2017 shouldn't be the case anymore. Overall, the gun is very solid. Okay, I've talked about the SIG 553, about how solid it is. This one is sort of the same thing. Okay, it's an extremely solid gun, and you could probably drop this from the 10th floor and pick it up and it would still shoot and would be still zero. I mean, with this fat barrel, the solid upper and lower, I mean, it's really excellent. Let's have a look at the inside. Here, in this hole where the push pin, the rear push pin goes through, there is some kind of detent mechanism which eliminates the rattle between upper and lower. This is also an excellent way to solve the problem which most AR-15 have. Okay, I never found it to be an issue, but I reckon that it's the fix is so fast and it is so obvious that I wonder why other manufacturers of upper receivers don't do it. HK uses now normal push pins as opposed to the obnoxious one used in the earlier versions where you had to use some strange tools to remove them. They aimed at solving the same problem, the rattle between upper and lower, but this solution here is way better than having a dedicated push pin which only works with the tool. Okay. The trigger, nothing special. The bolt carrier is, since you probably have seen it in every AR-15, it's almost the same design. It's cut here at the back, so you cannot shoot full auto, and it also has a little notch here, which is compatible with this being the female sort of notch. The male notch is at the beginning of the chamber. They want to make sure that you don't use the full auto version of the 416. So they don't want you to use the bolt carrier group of a 416, which is full auto rated, in this gun. Okay, so the idea would be that it's only compatible with this, which is cut at the back. So regardless of what lowers you're using, since the upper has the male notch, which is compatible with this one, it will work with this in semi-auto. If you use the 416 version, I can imagine it is the same as seen in the 243, in the G30 civilian G36. They did the same there. The idea is that if you use the original one, it doesn't close, it doesn't go into battery, okay, because it doesn't have the female notch here. So the male one prevents it from going to battery. You cannot close the bolt. Okay, so it's gonna be hard to shoot in that case. This is just to prevent people converting it to full auto. Another neat feature is the fact that the bolt head has a little spring here at the back where the firing pin is located, which keeps it at the front. So when you have to insert it, you can do it really fast. The price of this gun has also gone down quite a bit. At the beginning, the early HK MR223 A1, which came out, were way more expensive than this one, and came with 0 accessories. Okay, now you can have it for less than 3,000 or close to 3,000 Swiss francs, which is still expensive. Okay, you can have cheaper AR-15s for around 2,000 or even less than 10,000 nowadays. But this one is HK, it's a piston gun, well proven, comes with really high quality backup iron sights. It comes with a flash hider, a stock one, okay, and it comes with a 10-round magazine, okay. So from a price perspective, for the package you're getting, it's definitely also a leap forward, okay. So not only are you getting the closest things to an HK416 A5, okay, you're only getting it for a more competitive price compared to the earliest versions. As said, this gun comes in FD and in black. I probably should have gotten it in black. The FD looks nice, but I was just in my tactical world, yeah, I should have gotten it in black and maybe painted it in some color, but no, I'm stuck with this FD. But I've seen worse. At the range, this gun works with pretty much every accessory you can have for a normal AR-15 magazine. Not a problem. You know, the magazine well is different on this one. I forgot to mention it earlier. It has the low. They brand it as an improvement, but to be honest, it's just going back to the roots, because the original 416s and also the original MR223 had sort of the flat magwell, which was only compatible with USGI magazine, such as this one. It was not compatible with PMags, for instance. It should have been compatible though with this EMAG, which you can see is straight until here. The 416A5 and the MR223A3 have the normal magwell angle, like virtually any AR-15. So they are also, as a consequence, compatible with virtually any magazine. The gun handles very well. Okay. It's definitely heavier than, for instance, this guy here, okay? But for a reason, okay? For a good reason, I might say. I run this guy suppressed most of the times, and the feeling is a lot better than the DI gun, okay? The DI gun has really a lot of gas coming back into your face, which is a bit tiring. This one also has some gas coming back, but at least the piston system removes a little bit of it. Okay, we all know that most of the gas comes back from the barrel. Okay, so regardless if you're running DI or piston, whatever, with suppressed setting or not, I mean, there's always some gas coming back from the barrel. There's nothing you can do about that. But at least there's not that much gas coming back from the gas system portion. Okay. Whereas in the DI guns, you do have that added effect, and it's quite heavy. Manipulations on this gun are the same as with any AR-15. Okay, you have added ambient controls. The safety, it's great. Okay, this feeling is solid. Okay, I don't use, as I said before, I don't use this bolt hold open device on the right. I only use the one on the left hand side. The mag release here is not too bad. Every now and then I use it without even thinking about it. It's in a great position. Depends what kind of reload you're doing. Yeah, the stock, I don't like it that much. It's really sort of, it has a very aggressive grip. It's not a grip at all. This seems rubber, but it's way too tough. It's almost like plastic. So I don't like it that much, but I also don't want to spend extra money on another stock. They would look more redundant. This gun is just cool as it is. I don't buy guns only to shoot them, also to collect them, and this one really looks like one of the last HK416 A5s that are issued to military forces. So yeah, I mean, out of 5 stars, I would definitely give it minimum 4.5, probably 5. If the barrel was a bit skinnier, it would be better. Okay. Not so much because it's heavy as a whole, but because of the balance. Okay, especially with the suppressor, can get a bit heavy without a real reason. Okay, so it's not like it shaving a couple of grams off would be a big trade-off in terms of accuracy or whatever. The barrel, as you were able to see, is really fat. It's definitely way more fat than any AR-15 barrel. Having said that, let me spend a couple of minutes to what's currently going on across Europe and Switzerland as a consequence. The European Commission, or I don't know, how the retarded bureaucracy in Brussels works, but those guys, as a consequence of terrorist attack, which have ravaged since France and Germany mostly, they want to limit or change the directives that regulate gun trade and gun possession across Europe. I used to believe that this kind of legislation would still be in a competence of member states, but apparently the bureaucracy Brussels have managed to take that away from national sovereignty as well. So what they want to do is basically limit what kinds of gun you can own with specific licenses, and also limit in general some guns, or ban some guns altogether. Okay, guns with collapsible or stocks that can fold and are shorter than 60 centimeters, they want them to be banned outright because they are deemed dangerous and easily concealable weapons. Which is ironic because an AK folded is 64 centimeters, if I'm not mistaken, or definitely more than 60. So the AK that were used for terrorist attacks obviously would not be banned. But yeah, I mean, we all know bureaucrats, especially the ones in Brussels, are not there because they're smart. So I wonder why I'm saying this. Anyway, they want to ban sort of SBRs, okay, pretty much as in the States. You could still buy them with a special authorization, but it's quite a pain, okay. It's quite a pain. How do I know this? As of right now, Switzerland, which is an associate member of the Schengen area, Schengen is the sort of the border-free zone where they only have border controls on the outer borders, but within the states that are members of Schengen, there are no borders themselves. Switzerland, as an associate member, should translate this new directive into national law. Okay, so even though we're not in the European Union, we always get a negative advantage of being an associate member to Schengen. So should this pass through, there will be definitely a lot of changes also for us. Switzerland has one of the most liberal gun legislation Europe-wide, and hardly anything happens here. Every now and then some guy commits suicide with a gun. It's his problem, okay? I haven't heard of a terrorist attack committed in Switzerland with guns, or especially with short guns, since I was born, okay? Because people are responsible, but of course that's not a concern of politicians who only seek more control. So the SBRs would be banned, and it would be a lot harder to get them, okay? And also magazines, okay? Magazines for long guns should be limited to 10 rounds, and for pistols to 20 rounds. So for pistol, it's not really much of a big deal. I have yet to find a gun which has more than 20 rounds. Take the P226 or whatever other pistol. You only have 15 or 14, whatever. It would be a big handicap for guns, though, especially because we have national competitions here which rely on you having at least a magazine capable of holding 20 rounds. So if this directive comes true, as it's currently looking like, which is still better than the original draft, don't get me wrong, but I still don't think that we need any directive at all. If this passes through, we're going to be in deep trouble here. Honestly, I think there will be an interesting political fight over this, because people over here are also kind of tired of the European project in general, you know, as take for instance the free movement of people, which is causing some severe imbalances across Europe. Okay, you have poor countries where young people are just going away, going to or rather said, to more performant countries, which are glad to have the free movement of people because they get free talent subsidized by other countries for zero cost. Okay, take a young Spaniard, a young Italian, you know, which flee a country with 40-50% youth unemployment. They go to Germany, they find a job. German government is happy. They didn't pay anything for education. They get extra tax income, whatever. So of course, the free movement of people doesn't really help poor countries. It only creates more imbalances. The free movement of people is accompanied by Schengen because obviously they say if people want to move freely, we don't need to have any border controls or like. And I think Switzerland nowadays is just losing out on this. There are just too many people coming over here and creating too many imbalances on housing market, labor market, but it's a whole other set of discussion. It just said that the Schengen Agreement now is touching upon also on guns, which at least was something that as a Swiss you could be proud of. Okay, the government letting you own pretty much whatever guns you wanted. This may change. We're gonna probably see more in this discussion in Q2 or Q3 of 2017 when the final text is agreed upon in Brussels. But yeah, I hope you found the mini review on this MR223 useful. Let's see in the future what kind of guns we'll be able to buy. Finally, HK was starting to release a bit more serious, so to speak, firearms, you know, for collectors. Okay, something that you could really say, this looks like the original counterpart in the military. As they started now to do this, and the European Commission comes with this new directive, so it's kind of a disaster. But let's see. I hope to go to the range a bit more often now in 2017 and to make more videos. Since there is not a lot of footage out there about this gun, obviously since it has not been released in the States, the European market is not that is not in the same shape, and there is a lot of less. The ecosystem also online is not that developed. So I hope that some people might enjoy this footage. You will probably see this in the States in 2017. I heard that something big from HK will be announced at SHOT Show. So look forward. This little SBR, or rather the 16-inch version, which is compliant to US law, may come to you sooner than you think. And yeah, thanks for watching. Stay safe.